Now, I believe it was James who actually taught you how to play guitar, right? What's the story there?
Well, certainly James was my first teacher. I was the younger brother, and I'd watch him play, and I'd pick up the guitar and mimic some of the things that he was doing. And if I didn't get it right, he'd punch me in the arm, and then he'd show me how to do it right. So for the price of a sore arm, I had a wonderful teacher.
I watched Carole King once introduce James for his guitar playing rather than his singing or storytelling. Would you say his skills, especially when it comes to like arrangements, that they seem to be somewhat underappreciated or perhaps taken for granted, no?
I think that it is for James Taylor, such as the case with Paul Simon. When you hear Mrs. Robinson and you hear Paul Simon playing that acoustic guitar, I'm telling you, he's a monster player. A monster guitar player. And you think about somebody like Nat King Cole, a monster piano player. I love to quiz my students and ask them, can Aretha Franklin play the piano? And they don't know or haven't bothered to find out. And the answer is she's an unbelievable piano player.
So at some point you were signed to Capricorn Records and then Epic. What was that journey like for you to get to that point?
Well, in those days, first off, something happened, in my opinion, in the early 60s. Multi-track recording became available. And what that did was that just blew the marketing of music wide open, because now you could take a singer-songwriter, for example, and if you listen to old tapes of Cole Porter singing his songs, Cole Porter just wasn't a very good singer. Post 1960, with multi-track recording, somebody like Cole Porter, somebody indeed like Carole King. Carole King was able to make Tapestry as a result of no longer needing a world-class singer to sing her song. She's a fine singer, but she's not a one take, there are 70 people in the studio, everybody needs to do their job right now. And what multi-track recording allowed was singer-songwriters to come to the fore. You could write a song, record it with a band, the band could leave, and you could take a week, a month, a year to get your part right.
I know that you've got kind of an interesting perspective on how technology and the internet now has kind of, for lack of a better way of putting it, diluted the, I don't want to say the talent pool. I think it almost seems like maybe a cultivation of the talent pool. Because I remember seeing an interview where you were talking about how with the internet now anybody can get on and anybody can do something, whereas before it used to be much more competitive to impress a producer.
When I was starting out, a record company, if you wanted to record your music, recording was expensive. So the recording studio cost $250,000, and a lot of people wanted access to that. There was a gatekeeper at the door of that recording studio, and the gatekeeper, sometimes it manifested as the head of a record company, sometimes it manifested as a producer or other items, but they certainly weren't your mother. And and so they would say, play me what you've got. I'll let you know if you can come in. And it had to meet a certain bar. What the internet allowed is the internet allowed access for all. The internet eviscerated the income stream that allowed gatekeepers to concentrate talent. Let me be as clear as a bell with you. Great art is the result of wealth concentrating talent. Now you can get a great engineer. Now you can get a studio. Now you can buy record promotion and tour support. All of this infrastructure that went into fine tuning, all of this, there's a phrase by Abraham Lincoln, a spark still has to find a dry field. A spark is not enough. And so now the difficulty is that if a gatekeeper says to me, Livingston, you're not good enough, I can go, well, go jump. I'll record myself and put it out myself. And so the ability to concentrate talent, and with that concentration of talent, make exceptional art, has been eviscerated by the internet. As a result, it is vast seas of mediocrity, with occasional sparks of brilliance, but rarely the dry field necessary to turn it into a conflagration.
And it's not being cultivated the same way, because if you're just doing it yourself, your like you said, your resources for talent around you, production talent around you, is not there. You know what I mean?
What I love saying to my students is I explain how you get great. How you get great is never by listening to something I tell you. How you become great is that you have been concentrated, you have been put in the same vicinity as 4 others of your contemporaries. And the 5 of you are friends, but you're also competitors. You're in your early 20s, and there is a record company that's going to hand out a record contract to 1 of the 5 of you. That contract goes to somebody else, and you're gracious. And what you say is, congratulations. And then you go back to your room, and then you look at yourself in the mirror, and you promise whatever God will listen, that you will never feel this way again. And now you're practicing until your fingers bleed. Now you're not becoming good, you are becoming great, because you understand how it feels to be passed over for somebody else. And the only way through is to have that gatekeeper acknowledge you. And that makes really good art.
So I'd like to go to a commercial break and then come back and maybe have you close out the show with a song. Can you do that for us?
I certainly can, and you know how I feel about commercial breaks. Very positively.
We'll be right back with Livingston Taylor.